The next few days were thankfully dull. Monokuma's next motive, money, failed to really catch anyone's interest. The students started to disappear into the bathhouse more often, where there were no cameras. During those periods, the broadcast would just show what Monokuma deemed the blossoming young love between Togami-kun and Fukawa-san. Watching her either stalk him from the shadows or chase him while proclaiming her love got old fast, but Chiaki reminded herself it was far better than another murder. The only thing truly of interest was that the students would sometimes whisper about an alter ego. I'm sure my precious viewers are very confused about this alter ego my students keep mentioning, Monokuma narrated with a laugh as Naegi-kun brought Ishimaru-kun to the locker room. Just this once, I'll give you a little behind the scenes. The build-up for a big reveal is fun and all, but I'm more of an instant gratification kind of bear. He made a big show of looking around, then leaned in, whispering conspiratorially. Alter ego is the laptop hidden in that room they've all been visiting, a technical marvel left behind by the late Fujisaki-kun. Oh, but Monokuma-sama, you may say, there are no cameras there. How could you know such a thing? I'm the headmaster of this school, you bastards! I know everything that happens here, cameras or no! The bear giggled. Boo! Isn't that just despairful? They think they have a hidden advantage over me, but really, they're just puppets dancing on my strings, putting on a pretty play for your purloined pleasure, and when the curtain falls, the curtain calls will go unanswered. Boo! Boo!
She doesn't really know everything, does she?
Chiaki asked, frowning when the bear left. On screen, the scene was depicting another round of Fukawa-san's stalking, which she knew by now was safe to tune out. Sometimes, she and Kamakura-kun even focused on therapy, leaving the TV on in the background, though now was not one of those times. She does not, Kamakura-kun confirmed. His back was to her as she ran a brush through his hair. Chiaki had quickly found she had to do something with her hands while watching the game, or she'd get antsy. Petting Yumigami was the most common distraction, but styling his hair like that first time was her favorite. There are cameras in the students' bedrooms. She would have witnessed Fujisaki working on his artificial intelligence there, but presenting a facade of ominence is a good tactic for mental warfare.
I love his hair.
Twisting a hairband off her wrist, she tied his black locks into a high ponytail as she spoke.
Why wouldn't she do anything to destroy the laptop then?
She deliberately leaves loopholes and chances to lose in her schemes. The possibility of them failing pleases her. She brightened.
Oh, good. There's a chance they can really get out alive after all.
This entire time she'd been afraid it was just going to be killing and killing and killing until there was only one survivor. And for a while, nothing happened. Until the morning when Naegi-kun and the others went on a chase for robo-justice that ended with them discovering Yamada-kun and Ishimaru-kun's bodies. The backs of their heads were caved in. Cranial fluid and blood intermingled on the ground around them, and there were bits of skull flecked among the mixture. Chiaki turned away, pressing a hand over her mouth, when Yamada-kun stirred, somehow horribly still alive. In the blink of an eye, Kamakura-kun crossed the room and returned, trash can in tow. Immediately she leaned over it, and he held her hair back as she retched. In the background, she vaguely heard Yamada-kun's raspy breath his hoarse voice as he struggled to croak out words. Then he stopped speaking, then the body discovery announcement, then silence.
Celeste-san is acting pretty suspicious.
Chiaki mused, watching the gambler debate with Naegi about the dolly.
She's being way too pushy. Plus, wasn't she the only one who saw Robo-Justice?
In a neutral tone, Kamakura-kun said, Yamada claimed to have seen him as well.
That's right. I forgot.
She frowned, tapping a finger against her chin.
But we saw Asahina-san stumbling about in that costume. I don't think it would let you move with the speed and mobility required for a case like this. So, it couldn't have been Robo-Justice who murdered them. Not to mention, Hagekure-kun was stuffed into a locker in the pool. If he somehow did kill them in that costume, he'd have designed it to be taken off so he wouldn't be incriminated. Then why would Yamada-kun?
A metaphorical light bulb went off above her head, and she gasped.
He was helping her. Yamada-kun was helping Celeste-san.
She jotted down notes during the investigation, and she snatched the paper, looking over it rapidly. Things like the note Kirigiri-san found, how Yamada-kun's big body could be moved in such a short time, Ishimaru-kun's broken wristwatch, started to make sense.
If he worked with her to kill Ishimaru-kun, faked his death, then got betrayed and killed by her while they were all split up, that's got to be it.
Kamakura-kun nodded slightly, giving up his pretense. Tagami and Kirigiri figured it out as well, before even stepping in the trial room. What a boring case. I expected better from a liar of her caliber. She silently watched Naegi-kun refute Celeste-san.
How terrible. Getting betrayed like that.
It just struck too close to home, and once again Yukizome-sensei's manic grin flashed before her eyes. She closed them and focused on breathing deeply, her hand automatically stroking Yumigami for purchase.
Not there. Not there. Not there.
As the trial continued, Naegi-kun's eyes became narrower, more focused. And eventually, he reached the same conclusion as her, turning to Celeste-san and pointing out all the strange things surrounding her testimonies. Tagami-kun and Kirigiri-san chimed in with their evidence, and the gambler's smile became minutely more fixed, her laughs a tad more forced. 2 blotches of color appeared high on her cheeks, and her teeth ground together as her attempts to prove them wrong were all deflected, until finally... She slammed her hands against her podium, eyes bulging and enraged.
Don't fuck with me, bastards! You're nowhere near a checkmate!
Well, if they weren't sure of her guilt before, that outburst just sealed it.
Chiaki thought. In the end, though Celeste-san fought like a lioness, Naegi-kun overpowered her arguments and laid out the tale of her murder. Her shoulders bowed when her defeat came, and Chiaki tried not to judge Celeste-san as she gave out her reasons. She could understand being scared and wanting out, but killing people for money? At least she was graceful about her defeat. The gambler stopped only long enough to place an object in Kirigiri-san's hand. And then, with her head held high, Yasuhiro Taeko marched off to her execution block. Chiaki didn't watch that one either.